Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Joy Goses. Leading the top segment, President Dr. Hage Geingob earlier today opened the second National Education Conference, which is aimed at reviewing and realigning the Namibian education system to ensure relevance to the needs of the country. Lenia Dishena filed our first story.
We thus aim to have an education system that is solution-based, relevant, and is able to address the challenges faced in the modern world. I therefore call upon all participants at this conference to put their heads together and come up with workable and solution-based outcomes that will transform the education system in Namibia. The sustainable financing of education is the engine that drives quality education transformation. Thus, the Namibian government has over the years provided sufficient domestic resources through its national budget to the education sector. The aim is to meaningfully invest in this sector, which has the potential to transform society for the better.
Meanwhile, Education, Arts and Culture Minister Anagi Pontoka says the National Conference on Education will activate levers of change that will help the Namibian nation reimagine its education system and revive the momentum of implementing plans to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals 4.
I would like to urge the conference to look critically into the educational challenges with the aim to identify specific levers of change, or what we call low-hanging fruits, which, if implemented within the constraints of the resource envelope we have, will have game-changing impact. The education crisis caused by many socio-economic and geopolitical challenges is experienced globally, as it was mentioned, and thus the outcome of our education conference, by way of clear, contextualized, focused, prioritized, and implementable recommendations, will also inform our national commitment, which will be presented by His Excellency our President at the UN Transforming Education Summit in New York in September.
Despite efforts to guarantee that all learners return to class when schools reopened last month, 30,502 or 3.8% of learners nationally could not be located, and more than 4,000 girls became pregnant while schools were closed.
The country is also a leader in the region to mitigate learning loss for children with disabilities by taking a number of actions such as adopting inclusive return to school programs, renovating resource schools, and establishing integrated school health task force to monitor vulnerable and at-risk children. These efforts by stakeholders to ensure learning continuity is applaudable, considering the challenges around internet access in the country, which stands at less than half of the Namibian population. However, while efforts were put in place to ensure that all learners return to school during school reopening, 30,502, or about 3.8 learners nationwide, could not be traced after reopening, and over 4,000 girls fell pregnant due to school closures. The proportion of grade 5 children with above standard achievement is only 27% as of 2018. The regional picture is a bleak one. Immediate action is a must to steer away from an even more profound crisis. In parallel, however, systems also need to be strengthened, including to transform education systems to become inclusive, and important reforms must be undertaken to address the magnitude of learning poverty in the longer run. If not, the situation could get even worse. Ladies and gentlemen, all governments must double down efforts to get every child into school.
In a recent interview with NAMPA, Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force, Lieutenant General Sebastian Taitunga, said the force has started training its own members as social workers in order to address mental health issues amongst its staff.
The the members of the force, you have a lot of members who are frustrated. And when members are frustrated, their productivity will go lower. And then you have members who sometimes also they lost their wives because they are transferred far from their families to save the people on the other side, and you find members really frustrated, and it contributed to some members even resigning, and because of the lower salary, everybody want to be promoted, promotion, and you see members really frustrated. So mental health is very important when you monitor the situation and you address it with the professionals. That's why we send our social workers around the country to some stations to address the members, to listen to the members, and to make sure that their mental continue to be supersonic.
When we return, Seacope fishermen demands answers as to whether they are still employed. Primetime Buzz brings you all things business and economics, and the extractive sector dominates the segment. Employees of Seacope Freezer Fishing Company working as fishermen on the MVF Pemba Bay vessel in Walfish Bay have been left stranded with no answers as to whether they are still employed. Our correspondent from the Erongo region compiled the story.
The employees, through their shop steward Nelson Dameshime at the press conference in Walfish Bay on Monday, said since their return from sea on 28 March this year, there was no further communication on their return to work, despite numerous efforts to contact the company. They added that the vessel has since been docked at the Walfish Bay port. He noted the company did not give them any official notification about their employment status from then. Ndameshime added they have been trying to get information from the company through their union Nassau. However, there has been no clear response yet. The employees have also alleged that they have not been paid for June and July, while their salaries for April and May were delayed and only paid in on 16 May and 8 June respectively, and not on the 25th of each month as per the agreement. Contacted for comment, Fishco Chief Executive Officer Clive Governor said he was aware of the workers' plight and that a meeting would be held to discuss these issues. Reporting for Primetime News, Isabel Bento.
The Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kalish Latvan, on Monday told the leadership of the Kavango East and West regions to clean their house during a meeting on the resuscitation of the green schemes in these regions. Sawi Hausiku, our correspondent from the regions, filed the story.
On the 27th of May this year, the leadership of the two regions drafted a letter to the minister in which they requested his audience on the revitalization of the green schemes, citing how they felt they were in a vacuum on the matter. As a response to this letter, Schledwein met the representatives of those two regions on Monday, engaging with them on the envisaged revitalization of the green schemes. During the discussions, Chairperson of the Kavango West Regional Council, Joseph Sivaku, asked the minister to put on hold the procurement process regarding the outsourcing of the green schemes until they had exhausted their deliberations with him. Schledwein said there were some proposals in the submission by the leadership that the ministry could entertain and some the ministry wouldn't entertain. The regional leadership recommended to the minister that they want local ownership of the management of the green schemes, as well as a review on the fee per hectare paid to the traditional authority as a lease fee. Currently, that fee is $50 Namibian. The regional councils also want shareholding for control, monitoring and coordination purposes. Schledwein informed the meeting that he would revert to them once he has consulted the ministry's technical team.
That's all the news we had for you this evening. Sport Planet is up next, but first the economics roundup, followed by the weather forecast.
Good evening and welcome to Sport Planet. I'm Michael Madimba. Cricket leads the segment tonight. Cricket Namibia has announced the re-election of its current board members for another 2-year term, following an elective annual general meeting held on Saturday in Windhoek. In a media statement posted on their website, Cricket Namibia said the current board members and patron have been re-elected to continue serving as board members for another 2 years. It says the current board was first elected in July 2020 and their new term begins in August 2022 and will run until the end of July 2024. On to the Bundesliga. New Bayern Munich forward Sadio Mane does not see himself as a global star, despite his long success run with Liverpool and Africa Cup of Nations title with Senegal. Mane told Bayern's Club magazine in an interview published earlier today that all that counts for him is a team, which also shows in Bayern's motto, Mia San Mia, loosely translated to "We are who we are." People say that about me, but I don't see myself as a global star at all. I don't know where to start with that phrase, he added. Mane is Bayern's major name summer signing along with Dutch defender Matthijs de Ligt and is scored in Bayern's 5-3 win over Leipzig in the German Super Cup on Saturday. Stand by for your sports roundup. The Primetime News Tuesday edition is done and dusted. Catch us on the morrow as we bring you the midweek edition. Many thanks for watching. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share and press the notifications bell to stay posted on the latest happenings locally and globally. Let's make another day tomorrow here on Primetime News. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire production crew, it's good night.